All right, friends, it's T-Man. I'm back again, man, with a new video. Again, on these religious zealots. I figured I had some time, I was a little bored, and I figured, you know what? I'm gonna do a reaction video to the religious zealot. His name is ElijahZielke. He always does these reaction videos to this dude over here, this religious guy. I forget his name now, but anyway. Let's react to this video. So Elijah says, atheist says, why is he labeling him as an atheist? Because, so if he doesn't believe in your religion, he's considered an atheist. This is fucking stupid, but whatever. Atheist says evidence for Jesus wouldn't hold up in court and it backfires. Okay, interesting.
I wouldn't want to defend that in court.
John?
Stop you right there. All the books of the Bible were written sometime after Jesus died. So what eyewitnesses are you talking about? And if, like, you know, the whole God thing was that important, maybe you should write it maybe not 30 years after.
This guy tries to debunk the Bible by saying that it was written way after the fact and it can't be reliable. And
it was written after the fact. The Bible was written after the fact. There was a story, and then somebody wrote something about a story from the past, from 150 or 200, something that happened over 150, 200, well, supposedly 200 years ago. So 200 years after the fact, they wrote stories about it. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely backfire. So let's get right into it.
How does it backfire?
Shout out to Clinton, give me an answer. Hopefully I can meet him one day and do a live with him. Let's go.
Why God created me for a purpose, I don't know. See, God didn't ask me to be his consultant.
So you don't know the purpose?
That's a lie. He knows the purpose. The purpose is to create more DNA. And God didn't create you. He says, I don't know why God created me. Why your mom created you? Your mom created you so you can continue by creating more DNA, by this life continuing like that way. It's through repetition. Life continues through repetition, creating more DNA. That's the goal.
Of your purpose, but you know you have a purpose.
No,
That's the purpose. The purpose of life is to create more DNA. So life continues on this planet through repetition.
don't know why God created me for a purpose.
Yeah,
He doesn't know why God created him for a purpose. God didn't create you. Your mom created you. Get it? She's the Holy Spirit. The Father, the Son, and the who? It ain't the Holy Spirit. Well, if she's the Holy Spirit, then your mom is the Holy Spirit. Get it? So that means that mom is God because she gives life. So that's what they're hiding from you. The church is hiding from you. They want to make you believe that man is a God, and man is not a God. So if anything, a woman is God because she gives life. Without woman, there's no you. There's no man. Women create men. That's where men come from. They come from women. It's really simple.
Yeah, you believe you have an inherent purpose, but you don't know what the purpose of having an inherent purpose is.
See, he thinks he has an inherent purpose, but he doesn't know what that inherent purpose is. How could he not know?
Well, that's not the way I would put it, but
I think it's...
No, that's how you put it. That's what you said. Whatever his name is. I forget this priest guy's name.
Sense. Is that just a yes or no question? You think you have a purpose, but you're not really sure why you have that purpose.
no, I am sure I have that purpose because God created me for that purpose.
All right.
Okay, what is that purpose that this supposed God character created you when your mom is the one who created you? But he keeps insinuating a God character had created him, and no God created him. He's a liar. Listen to this. He is a fucking liar. No dude called God created him. His mom created him. It's kind of obvious he's lying.
But you don't know why God created you for that purpose.
I don't know what went on in the mind of God in eternity past.
And now he's helping him lie. He's laughing at him. You don't know why this God character created you. Which he wasn't created by God. He was created by his mom.
Okay, so I don't understand that. In other words, I don't understand why God gave me the gift of life. I don't know why there's a...
He didn't. Your mom gave you the gift of life. You want to know why she gave you the gift of life? It's really simple. So you can create more DNA. So that life can continue. That's how you live on this planet, through DNA.
I think that was your parents. All right.
Wow.
So
You may not like that, You may not want to hear that, but that's the truth. Okay?
believe in alternative prophets like maybe Muhammad, who has his own historical evidence.
I am convinced that Muhammad was an historical person. The evidence is Muhammad really was born and really died and really lived and taught and fought. Now, the reason that I don't trust Muhammad is because when I read the Quran, I see internal contradictions. Like, Jesus is not God, but I respect Jesus. He's a good teacher.
I love how he says there's contradictions. Man is not a god. It's really simple, dude. Ain't no man, no God. Oh, get it? You get it, man? You get it? Ain't no God, no man. As far as this other religious, the Muslim religion, or whatever you want to call it, this Mohammed stuff too, is also just as fake as this guy's religion.
Obviously, Muhammad was born about 500 years after Christ, which means Muhammad never met Jesus.
I don't know if he was born. I don't even know if he was ever alive. Him most likely is just a story, another story.
But the eyewitnesses who saw Jesus insisted Jesus claimed to be God.
There, man. The eyewitnesses that witnessed a man claim that a man is God. That is just the most insane thing I've ever heard in this fucking planet, bro. Get it? This guy really has to be drinking the Kool-Aid. There is no man is a God. No man is a God. It's really simple, dude. I don't care what this guy says. Men do not create life. Without women, there's no life. It's really simple. So mom must be God.
So who am I going to trust to be my primary source about an historical person? A dude who lived 500 years after the guy? Or the eyewitnesses? It's a no.
The eyewitnesses are all dead, if there ever were any. They're all dead, so there are no eyewitnesses. You understand me? They have to be living. And a witness has to be alive. When somebody commits a crime or something happened, why do they want to kill the witness before he shows up in court? They go there and they assassinate him. Why? Because dead witnesses, there's no witness. He's dead. Get it?
Brainer.
Who are the eyewitnesses?
Matthew, John.
There are no witnesses. They're dead. And there never were any witnesses because this is a joke, man. No man is a god. It's really simple.
Right there. All the books of the Bible were written sometime after Jesus died. So what eyewitnesses are you talking about?
Matthew, John.
Exactly. What eyewitnesses are you talking about if the Bible was written 200 years after the fact? Supposedly after the fact. It was written, yes.
Peter.
How can they be eyewitnesses if the Bible was written sometime after Jesus died, like hundreds of years?
Oh.
Yes.
Well, obviously, every history is written sometime after the events.
Yeah, but
some history is written sometime after the event. Then it's not historical. It's got to be fake. It's fabricated. It's made up. Listen, this guy, Mickey, or whatever the fuck his name is, this priest guy, yeah, man, he's a liar. He's fabricating this stuff now. He's just going along fabricating more lies on top of lies.
If the history was written before the events, then we'd have a real problem.
If they were written before the events, we'd have a real problem. Well, he's making a joke out of it now. Well, that's stupid. In the First Testament, he once said they were written before. They gave knowledge. They gave forecast to this event happening. So he's lying.
Witness means you were there at that time.
You were there.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to be an eyewitness 300 years after something happened.
It sure is.
Unless you have a DeLorean, but that's a different topic.
A great point. Sir, it used to be taught on every major university campus here in the United States that the Gospels were not written until 200, 300, 400 years after the fact.
Wow, that's crazy because it's fake. They wrote these Gospels 200-300 years after the fact of something that never took place.
One manuscript find smashed that whole school of thought. It's located in the John Rylands Museum in Manchester, England.
Let's say there was a guy called Jesus. Maybe he was a rogue or he went against the Roman Empire and then he was crucified and killed, whatever. They made him into a martyr. So they wrote up a whole story. So we're going from the Old Testament to the New Testament. So we're moving from the old world into the new world. The old world was about slaughter. God is slaughtering, killing, pillaging, raping, massacring, even all the way up to the 15th century when the Spanish met the New World. They enslaved, they killed, they maimed, they raped, they pillaged. They did all kinds of bad things in the name of God. God has killed 40 million people. How many did Satan kill in the Bible, in the Old World Testament? Oh, none, zero. Okay, let's see. So now they have the New World Testament. In the New World, they make a New Testament because we're getting more technical now. And when did they make that? Oh, Constantine. Yeah, Constantine in Europe. He made it. Okay, so it's only 500 years. So it's just as old as the Quran. 500 years, the Bible, yada, yada, yada. And they made up this whole story about being cutesy nice, and you're suffering, and you're going to go to the happy place, and this guy died, whatever, and you're going to make it, and you're going to go there to the happy place, and yada, 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 yada. So you have to be really good. You have to be really nice. Don't fornicate. Don't have sex. Don't do all these things. Don't act on your emotions, on your senses. Don't act on your survival skills, because they're all sinful. Because remember, the Jesus guy's coming back. He's going to judge you. You're going to go to the hell place, the dirty place, and you're going to burn to hell. You understand how they're holding you back from doing the things natural that come natural to you?
Fragment of the Gospel of John, dated between 105 and 130 AD. Secondly, that whole school of thought.
So it was okay for this God character to do it in the old world, but when it came to the new world, God had to turn into a pussy all of a sudden. He wanted to turn you all into pussies too. So you're not allowed to do what they did in the old world: slaughter, pillage, rape, do all these crazy things. But in the new world, God all of a sudden reformed himself. He's no longer a sinner, or he's no longer jealous or a sinner or causing murders or pillaging, raping, and fornicating and doing a bunch of stuff. Okay.
Was smashed by the letters of Clement, Bishop of Rome, Ignatius, Bishop of Antioch, in 95 AD and in 115 AD, in which they quote all of the Gospels.
AD, after Christ. AD, after Christ. Yes, AD.
All of Paul's letters. So obviously this whole school of thought that taught
Paul's letters, these so-called apostles, they're people didn't go to school. They couldn't write anything. It had to have been somebody who had the ability to write. Some people, they were intelligent back then. So you had to look for these manipulative people. The intelligent people were the people that manipulated the stupid people. That's how it works in this world. Intelligent manipulate stupid. Just like they're doing now. The stock market, crypto coin, and all that, the intelligent create and they manipulate the stupid people. That's how they steal their money, and they steal the stupid people's money. Get it? That's how they do it. They enslave you. The stupid people become slaves. The smart people, they run the whole show. And the slaves, they just sit there like dumb clucks. That's why in the Bible it says the slave master to obey your slave masters. It says even in the New Testament, the New World Testament. Yeah, man.
the Gospels were not written, the New Testament was not written for 300 to 400 years after the fact, has been totally discredited by the...
There you go. He just admitted it. 300-400 years after the fact. After the fact of what? How can anybody know anything 400 years, 300 years later? Fuck, I don't even know what anybody did 200 years or 100 years ago. Not even 50 years, I don't even remember. And I'm in my late 50s already. I don't remember anything back then.
Is documents written only 100 or so years after Jesus' death, as per what you just told me, like 95 AD and 103 AD, right? So it's not hundreds of years, it's just 100 years. That's what you're telling me, right?
No. When you study Paul's writings, and when he wrote them, he died in 62 AD approximately, you begin to realize that Galatians, 1 Corinthians...
But how could he write? He was illiterate. They were illiterate, those people back then. The majority of these slaves were illiterate. The majority of people. Very few people had any kind of knowledge or abilities to write or do anything. Only the intelligent people, which, again, is, not everybody is built the same. Not everybody is that intelligent. It's really simple. Yeah.
Were written in late 40s, early 50s. So that is 20 to 30 years after the fact. 20 to 30 years after Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, Paul writes Galatians, 1 Corinthians.
Okay, so eyewitness event would be 30 years after the event, correct?
Yes?
See, I feel like that's problematic because what you just told me with your, hullabaloo and all this, that, and the other, that eyewitnesses have to be there. And histories are written after. But 30 years seem to be, if I try to recount, well, I was not alive 30 years ago, but I'm not sure how great your memory is. But if you try to write a recount in a book over one event that happened 30 years in your past, I feel like that's not eyewitness.
Okay, fine.
Bruh, this guy
Yeah, this kid doesn't like that. You want to know why? Because he's such a zealot.
is so skeptical. Literally,
Skeptical? He's not skeptical. He's giving facts, kid. Facts. Reality.
everything he says just is like a skeptic. But it's great. I'm glad he's asking these questions. Back then, everyone had memorization that is absolutely better than ours.
What? How do you know that? You fabricated, you faked that, kid. He just lied. He's such a liar. And he calls himself a little religious zealot, a little religious kid. Yeah, you're a liar, kid. You're perpetrating a fraud. How could you possibly know they had photographic memory back then in the past better than people have today? They ate slave diets. What do you know what they were going through? They were suffering. Aren't they suffering? Isn't that why the guy died on the cross, for their suffering? Mentally, physically, they're suffering. Come on, kid.
The people didn't know how to write, so that means they had to rely.
Yeah, they didn't know how to write. You ever pass down a message down the line? Line up a bunch of kids, about, 20, 30 kids, and pass a message from the beginning to the last person at the end of the line. That message is never going to be the same. But the point is this. They manipulated everything, okay, to make it believable. That's all. They put stupid shit in the Bible thinking in the 21st century, well, they didn't know that they didn't know about us in the 21st century. We're a lot smarter. But I find that the most educated people are the stupidest people in the world. It's the ones that are sitting on the top, the very few, the 1% on the top. They are extremely intelligent. They know that this is all a manipulation. The markets, the religions, everything is to get power, money, and power. That's it. That's it. End of story.
More on their memory. You don't think that they want to remember the gist of the extraordinary things that Jesus did?
And if, the whole God thing was that.
What extraordinary things did this man do? Because I don't know any man that have done anything extraordinary in the world, kids. Other than manipulate, look for power, and do a bunch of stuff. Weird things.
Important. Maybe you should write it, maybe not 30 years after.
Okay.
Just like,
Now, when you study the...
And that's absolutely crazy and very ignorant to say, because how
Why is it, kid? Why?
expensive it is to even write things down. They were saying in the year 300 or 200, 300, it took over 300 sheeps to be killed, sheepskin, to write the entire Bible. That's a lot. So that's why they had to have an actual king empire to order this to happen. Writing stuff down is no joke.
First century Christian church, they were not impressed with writing. They were leaning on the oral presentation of the history by the eyewitnesses. And so the first church meeting.
Again, there are no eyewitnesses. There's nothing. He's fabricating that. He can't prove any of this stuff. It's all fake. See, that's the problem. It's all fake, and it doesn't even exist. None of this stuff exists in the 21st century. It only exists in a book that people are passing on. Just like, listen, it's like this. What is your purpose? Well, the religion, their purpose is to create more what? Bibles so that the Bible can live on. Okay, so what is your purpose? What is your purpose as a human? The same thing. To create human beings so that they continue on. The cycle continues on. It's really simple, get it? Something cannot survive if it doesn't have a purpose. The purpose is to control. The Bible's purpose is to control, is to enslave man, to control man. And so that's its purpose, and it does that very well. And so it must continue on. That's the purpose of it. Otherwise, it has no purpose anymore if it dies. You understand me? There's no purpose. And so just like humans, if they stop having kids, there's no purpose. What's the purpose? If you have no children, what is the purpose? They're already complaining that South Korea is going to disappear off the map because they're not having kids. And people are concerned about that. How many groups stopped having kids at some point and they disappeared? These hobbits or something, or other humans on the planet. We don't know how many other groups or species or whatever. They stopped having children and they disappeared. They disappeared, bro. Get it?
In late 30s, 40s, and 50s AD were not gatherings where they read a book. They were gatherings where an eyewitness who had seen Jesus.
How do you know that? Were you there? Did you witness that? He's fabricating this.
Shared what she or he had seen and heard.
How do you know they did that? How do you know that?
Then, as these eyewitnesses began to die off, suddenly it became...
Are you a witness? Did you go into a time machine and now you're explaining to us what you saw? He's making this shit up. This is exactly what I try to explain to you. This guy says he's religious, but a lie is a sin, and he's lying to these people.
They're clear, we need to write this stuff down. And so they wrote down what they had seen. And
we need to write this stuff. They said we need to write this stuff down. So they went and they wrote it down. He's making this shit up. They never said that because there's no proof of that.
What they had heard.
Oh, they wrote down of what they heard. Yeah, sure they did. Yeah, and you have it on a recording device. Yes.
Alright, so just to be clear, like, you believe all the stuff that happened with Jesus because...
How can he make an argument for that? How can he argue something that this Cliff guy, the priest guy, his name is Cliff, he fabricated that. How could you defend against something when people fabricate something fake? It's impossible.
After Jesus died, and people have all these, like, eyewitness and oral, ways of communicating. 30 years...
Now he's getting him in on the fabrication. That's like when you go to court, okay, and you want to appeal decision of a judge. Well, they want you to go to appeals court, and then they say you need to appeal on, I think it's like law, fact and law, that the judge erred in fact and law. Well, how do you know the judge erred in fact and law? Maybe he did it purposefully. That would be fraud. Therefore, he wouldn't have immunity. Now, would he? Because he acted in his personal capacity. If you want to win a case against the judge, it's really simple. Never argue that the judge erred in fact and law, because you're now committing fraud. You understand me? You're fabricating that. You could not possibly know that he erred in fact and law. So the best course of action is to say that it's impossible for a judge to err in fact and law because the facts were presented and he's a judge. His job is to dispense the law. So it can't be those two. So you rule them out. So it must mean he acted in his personal capacity. You understand me? Maliciously. He did it purposefully. Therefore, it's a crime. You understand me? If it's purposely done, it's criminal. Therefore, the judge has no immunity. That's how you win cases in court against the judge. And then you show then you prove with the facts that he did it purposefully, because he couldn't not have known the law because he's the judge. You get it? And He erred in fact. Impossible. The facts are presented. They're in the claim. You get it. That's how it works, man. You see this is crazy.
After that, eyewitnesses, and 30 years after that, people wrote a few things about it, and then 100 years after that, more people wrote anything about that, and 2,000 years later, we're here, and you're telling me...
Look, Cliff is acting in his personal capacity. He's fabricating these things. They're not based on facts. Therefore, it's a crime what he's doing.
Believe that all these things happen, like in regards to Jesus Christ, based on historical evidence that seems to be, I don't know, I wouldn't want to defend that in court.
Well, obviously in court, an eyewitness can put you in jail. Not only that, an eyewitness
can put you in jail. But an eyewitness can fabricate because he's human. You understand me? You can hire an eyewitness, or they can come in, they got paid off or something, or maybe they saw something, or they thought they saw something. They didn't particularly really see something. You understand me? He says an eyewitness. An eyewitness can't be trusted because they're humans. And humans are prone to doing what? Acting maliciously. They fabricate, they do a bunch of stuff. They act whatever in their personal capacity. You understand me?
account in court can get you in the electric chair. Execute.
Yeah, whatever. That's why the police and everybody are scared of these cameras. They're scared of people with cameras because now they have cameras. They're witnessing everything in real time on camera. That's the best eyewitness, because he's never going to change the recording is never going to change its story. Get it?
I think it's absolutely wild that he would say, I wouldn't hold these up in court. Oh yeah, all you have to do is have a certain amount of eyewitnesses.
He said an eyewitness. He didn't say a certain amount of eyewitnesses. It wouldn't hold up in court. But you're talking about something going on in the moment, though. But there's no eyewitnesses there. There were no eyewitnesses because there's nobody there. They're all dead. There's nobody to come forth and tell you that has lived over 2,000 years to say, guess what? There really was a guy, and he flew in the sky, walked on the water, he rose the dead, and did all these weird things, man. Something that is impossible for a human being to do. To cure leprosy, to fly in the sky, He was an astronaut. He went into heaven, up into the sky, flew into the sky through the clouds, and then he went into outer space and became an astronaut, went to the happy place. With his whole body flew out like Superman. Yeah, I don't think so, man. I don't think so, unless they were on drugs.
To confess, and you're screwed.
So remember, eyewitness accounts are very, very important. Very important.
Yes, eyewitness accounts. The reason why they have to have more than one eyewitness to the event, they need more than one. It's because humans are not reliable. So that what they do is, when one witness comes and gives their version of the story of what they witnessed, it's never really the same as the second witness, even if they were there at the event. That's why they look for witnesses at a car accident happened, and they're never the same, because one guy says, well, I saw this, and then they weren't exactly paying attention as to what was going on when the accident happened, and they usually give a different version. And so, but they want to know who was the cause of the accident. So they have to ask all the witnesses. That's why they look for many witnesses. One is not enough. One is not enough because it's their word against yours. See what I mean? You need several witnesses because humans are just terrible witnesses.
And the overwhelming evidence is that these eyewitnesses who claim to have seen Christ.
No, that book, the Bible, was orchestrated by somebody extremely intelligent, and they put it together very, very, very well. Because those so-called eyewitnesses could not have given the same description. It's impossible. How could they have all given the same description? Like I just told you, if something happened and there's a bunch of witnesses and they go to court, the story is never the same. You understand me? The story would be different.
Die on a cross, buried in the tomb, a very specific tomb of Joseph.
He died on a cross. Some dude died on a cross. Okay, a man died on the cross. They were killed. They're dead then.
Of Arimathea. 3 days later, they saw him risen from the dead.
Then he wasn't dead. Listen to me. If somebody crucified somebody and then they put him in some chamber or whatever, and then he rose and he walked around, then that means he wasn't really dead. Now, if they how should I put it? If they cremated him, then he definitely ain't gonna get up and walk around because he's gone. He's disintegrated. Get it? He's destroyed. There's no body to get up. So that's why the story makes the story is very faulty. Many people have been out like completely out. They thought they were dead. They were ready. I saw this story. They were about to burn a guy, put his body to cremate him, and all of a sudden he got up. He opened the thing and he got out. He was alive all of a sudden. That means he wasn't dead to begin with. They just probably misunderstood the heartbeats. His heartbeats were so slow. Something happened to him that he wasn't really dead. You understand me?
They were willing to die for what they claimed to have seen.
A lot of people.
They were willing to die for something that they claimed to have seen. There you go. There's the word. They were willing to die for something they claimed to have seen. They claim they saw something, but they don't know what they saw.
Willing to die for things they believe in.
Well, they were willing to die because they saw a guy who wasn't really dead and rose and got up and walked away. Okay.
Believe in, yes, but not claim to have seen. Because these guys are claiming to have seen Christ, not just simply to believe in him. But they're saying, we saw Jesus risen from the dead, and they were willing to be martyred for them. Sir, martyrs and hypocrites are not...
I'm not saying somebody can't rise that wasn't dead. You understand? That means they weren't dead if they rose. See what I mean?
made of the same stuff.
I disagree.
You think people will die to cover up what they know to be alive?
People would, or
Of course they would. Of course they would, Cliff, because that's what human beings do. Come on, man.
I don't know if you, once again, it's like oral presentation in history from 2,000 years ago, so I'm not sure what these eyewitnesses actually said. I mean, doesn't the Bible in and of itself have several accountings of when Jesus rose? Maybe there's two angels one time, there's one angel when it was the boulder which originally moved, or are there not multiple interpretations of that in the Bible?
Well, I'm going to talk to my wife tonight on the phone. And if I, during the conversation, say I spoke to a gentleman about the evidence for the reliability of the New Testament, and later on in the conversation I say I spoke to over 500 people this afternoon, It's not a contradiction. I spoke to one man at one point, and I also spoke to over 500 people. So just because one gospel says there was an angel in an empty tomb, and another gospel says there were two angels in an empty tomb, is not a contradiction. We would have a contradiction if one of the gospels said there was only one angel at the empty tomb, and then another gospel said there were two angels.
So just to
You know how insane that sounds?
be clear, what you're saying is that because one gospel just forgot to mention another angel being there, and they only said one, that doesn't mean that there was actually two. That person just has a bad reaccounting of things that happened.
No. What I'm saying is,
All right.
when you read, now listen, just let me answer you, and then you go on to the next one. When you look
brother.
at CNN, Reuters, and the New York Times record a specific event, they are not going to be identical. You're going to have some common details, and you will have some divergent details. But there are not going to be blatant contradictions. And one of the ways that you tell whether an account is true is...
Yes, there will be contradictions. That's the reason why they have to gather many witnesses. Because the story's contradictory, and then they have to piece it together like a puzzle. It's really simple.
by looking at the different accounts and seeing, are there common details plus divergent details? If there are no divergent details, you know they were copying off each other. If there are too many divergent details and they contradict each other, then you know somebody's wrong. But what is so fascinating...
And that's what makes it fake, because there's no contradiction, which is very strange. And there should be. No witness gives the same story. No witness gives the same story. I'm sorry.
about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is they have common details. Do they diverge in certain ways? Absolutely, yes. The same way CNN, Reuters, and the New York Times will have divergent details of the storm in the Philippines.
Okay,
All right.
Let me try this as well.
And just because those things are a little bit different, even I would even say if one person said that there was one angel and another person said that there was two angels, only two angels or whatever, I don't think that even makes a difference compared.
It does make a difference because they fabricated it. That was the problem. There's no such thing. There's no angels, okay? You're not witnessing any angels. Of course, maybe your mom is an angel. I don't know. Your girlfriend could be an angel. You know what I mean? But like I said, there are no angels, okay? This is unless they were smoking some drugs back then. I know they were doing opium back then, doing some heavy drugs back then because they were all suffering, right? Sure, they did a lot of drugs.
To obviously, if one person says, yeah, Jesus didn't rise from the dead.
They had alcohol back then. People got drunk. They drank wine. So they got drunk. They had some wine and they saw one or more angels. You know, you think in an event like that where they were living, they drank a lot of wine because Jesus partook in wine with them. They broke the bread and he drank the wine, got drunk together with these so-called apostles. He drank toxic wine, poison. He broke the laws of nature, Jesus Christ, by eating bread, sludge, toxic bean sludge, whatever bread, destroying his body, because isn't your body your temple? And then drinking wine on top of it, poison. Oh, man, this is really crazy. Guess the body ain't the temple, dude.
So if we're looking at a news report by CNN, and you consider something, or I guess...
There are so many contradictions in that book. The problem was the person who wrote it didn't know about the 21st century, running into real intelligent people and people that use it to manipulate the crowds. That's why they keep passing it on. It's the Holy Bible, to enslave man. It's to control you, to enslave you, so you don't act on your instincts to survive. As an animal from nature, you are an animal in nature. That's like men. Men are they constantly try to get animals, like dangerous animals, and they try to tame them. And then they show them on YouTube with walking with lions. And look at me, I'm a human, I'm walking with lions. The lions aren't eating me or biting me to death. Yeah, the ones that you raised from a small baby growing up, they only know you since they were a child. They may not attack you or eat you. You never know. I don't know. They may not. But here's the thing. But if you go meet a bunch of tigers and lions in the wild, they're going to eat you. Get it? You understand me, man? Whatever.
CNN 2,000 years ago, fundamentally, that the absence of one angel is somehow a small detail and not very important to the story. That's problematic. Angels are not details that can simply be left out. I'm to believe what you probably feel about the significance of angels on Earth. This is problematic. This is not the equivalent of a few details. These are the equivalent of CNN saying we're in war in one country and Fox News saying we're at war in the North Pole. These are highly divergent things that seem to be really important. These are not details.
Wow, just like he's doing what Cliff's doing, kid. He's doing the same thing. He's giving a description.
These are important things.
I will let everybody make their own
He's
decision.
explaining they're important facts. They're left out.
That one.
Okay.
I think that one's crystal clear. We disagree.
All right. Just one more question on the. I believe.
There you go, Cliff. He just gave up. He just gave up. You want to know why? Because he lost. He lost. There's no argument there. He lost, and the basis of just that alone already destroys all credibility of religion because it's fake. It's based on fake shit.
Earlier about moral absolutism or things of this sort, and there are certain situations where you can't be moral absolutist. Do those not contradict, or?
If there is no God, there are no moral absolutes. Because if there is no God...
If there is no God, there's no moral absolutes. There's no moral absolutes. Morals. There's no morals in nature, Cliff. Morals don't exist in nature. We are animals, regardless of what you want to believe. We are animals.
Morality comes from the human mind. And my human mind is not superior to your mind. So if you say one thing is good and I say it's evil, you're not right, I'm not wrong, I'm not right, you're not wrong. It's all relative.
30 years only, apparently. But fair enough. Are are there exemptions to things like the Ten Commandments? Can you kill somebody sometimes? Is it okay to kill Hitler?
Okay, great question. Yes.
See, 10 Commandments, that's created by humans. It's man-made. They created it. Want to know why? To control you. They wanted you to stop doing these things. That's the whole thing, to control.
The Ten Commandments are moral absolutes. But do those moral
The words, 10 Commandments, they never existed before. Why now all of a sudden? You know what I mean?
absolutes
Access unmatched trading conditions.
apply in the same way to every situation?
I'm asking you that. Yeah,
Right,
that's my question.
that's the question. Okay, good. I just want to clarify, make sure we're on the same page. All right. I feel that some followers of Christ have misunderstood the commandment, you shall not kill. I am convinced from both the Hebrew word and the
But they do kill. People do kill. The governments kill. Your governments, people, they kill. Here's the thing. They don't want you to kill, but the government will kill. See that? Why is that? Are they above the 10 Commandments? Because the 10 Commandments, they're not enforced by anybody. They don't work in this world. The only laws that you have to hear are the man-made laws in this artificial environment that you live in cities. Because guess what? Man's going to enforce their laws. You understand me? Never mind the 10 Commandments. They're going to enforce their laws. If you kill somebody, they're going to come after you for sure. So you need to be worried about being pursued. That is the worst thing that could happen to somebody, being pursued. If you're being pursued, you better watch out. Yeah, man. You know that?
context that is referring to murder. I would define murder as killing motivated by selfishness, hatred, revenge.
So why do people go and have wars and kill people? Because it's based on selfish, this, all the stuff that he just said? No, it's not based on any of that. It's based on they want to take over, they want to either genocide you and remove you from your property, your land, and take over. The Russians had genocided the Caucasus and the Caucasus. I forget this group of people. They're called Caucasians or Coasians or Caucasians or something like that. They lived in the Caucasus, north of Georgia. They had removed all of them from that land. They slaughtered a good majority of them and then removed them completely, and the Russians took over. They're gone. These people, they scattered and they're gone. Some went to Turkey, whatever, they deported them. Look what's happening in the West Bank, in Jerusalem. They're doing the same thing. They're genociding. So these behaviors, are they still continuing to this day? Yes, of course. They're continuing in many places in the world. You just don't know it. You just don't know it. Has been happening in Africa even now, to this day still. They're genociding, killing, removing, moving people, getting rid of people, getting rid of these groups. Yeah.
Wait, so if you kill somebody not outside those three things, it's not murder anymore?
Okay, I'm gonna show you how. If you and
I mean, only 007 can kill people, right? Because he has a license to kill.
go into McDonald's.
Can I just have those three categories one more time?
You bet. Murder is killing motivated by selfishness, hatred, revenge.
Selfishness, hatred, and revenge. What if they're killing people because they want to rob them? See what I just said before? Stealing your land, robbing you, whatever. Is that based on that? Not necessarily. What if a guy is defending himself in McDonald's? I read this story where a security guard, he had a gun on him, and two guys picked a fight with him in McDonald's. He pulled out his gun and shot both of them. He got off in court. He said it was defense. Well, they didn't know he was carrying a gun. See what I mean? He had a weapon, though, a gun. What was he doing carrying a gun in McDonald's? Does McDonald's allow people to carry guns in there, even if he was off duty even as a security guard? He was actually a money guard. Like those guys that take care of money, they have a gun, they're allowed to carry a gun around. Well, he was off duty, went into McDonald's, and these guys were like, I don't know, bothering him or something, and then he shot him. You see what I mean? He says it was defense. I don't think so. I think he wanted to shoot him. People are motivated to see what it's like to kill people. They want to know, and then they know they can get away with it, because then they'll say, well, it was self-defense, right?
But if you and I go into McDonald's restaurant and a guy walks in with a gun and starts blowing people away.
Okay, that's different. A guy just walks in and blows people away at McDonald's. But guns should not be allowed in McDonald's. It's a place there, it's a private, it's public, but it's private. Restaurant's private. You're coming in there, should have on the door, and not be carrying any guns in McDonald's. But again, who's enforcing that? That's the problem. Who's enforcing that law?
You hit him high and I hit him low, and we break his neck in the process. I would argue that is not murder. That is killing motivated by a drive to protect the innocent from being slaughtered.
That's good. Yeah, I think.
So if they break his neck and whatever, that's protecting the innocent from being slaughtered by him or something or whatever. But what about the guy that went into McDonald's that was a security guard carrying a gun off duty, and he shot two people there? He killed them both. He says it was self-defense. They were in an argument, but if an argument is not for self-defense, you're shooting people because you're arguing with them?
It's pretty obvious when
He said he feared for his life in that argument. So an argument made him fear for his life. Okay, that's why he shot him. Okay.
it says thou shalt not murder. There's a big difference compared to protecting yourself. Self-defense.
Ethically different from murder.
There you go. Self-defense. See? Did those two guys, were they able to defend themselves? No, because the guy shot him. He shot both of them at McDonald's.
So, let's say if I was in a time period where I wanted to kill Hitler, and obviously I want to kill him for a few reasons, because he's a bad guy, all this and that. I mean, let's see.
Yeah, but you didn't know he was a bad guy until he got to that point, and you didn't know. So how would you be able to kill him? That part doesn't make sense. But whatever. Now, if he's a bad guy and you want to kill him, okay, yeah, you want to get rid of him, right? That's your job, to eliminate him. Now that he is doing bad things, you're witnessing these things.
Wouldn't like revenge for what he did to the Jews would be? I mean, would this not be revenge? I mean, he's gassing Jews. I don't want to kill him because of that. Would I be a murderer, and would I go to Fireland for the rest of my life? Or
Great question. One of my
Fireland. You're gonna go to hell.
heroes, assassinate Adolf Hitler. His name, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Bonhoeffer was deeply committed to Christ. He was a pastor in the German church. He began to watch what
Hitler proved there's no God. That was the whole point. He proved there's no God. There's no God, because these Jews sat around in the street and they said, why doesn't anybody come and help us? Nobody came and helped them because... Now, Christians are going to say that they're the chosen ones. That's why Jewish people don't like Christianity. They don't like Christians, because Christians have now claimed that they are the chosen people because the Israelis or the Jewish people, they don't believe in Jesus. And because they don't believe in Jesus, they're not the chosen ones anymore. And so all of a sudden, Christianity, they took it over and said, well, we're the chosen ones now. We're the chosen ones. We're all going to the happy place. And you guys, you're not going there. That's why there's a conflict there.
was doing, he became convinced, I am ethically responsible to stop Hitler from slaughtering innocent people. I have the utmost respect for the way Dietrich Bonhoeffer tried to physically stop Adolf Hitler right in his tracks by trying to assassinate him. I support that 100%.
He didn't really try to do that, because if he did, he would have just taken him out. It's all bullshit.
But don't get any ideas that it's okay to just like go assassinate like a president because you disagree with them or think they're the next Hitler.
Would he be a murderer?
Look, man, if you want to take somebody out, you're going to take him out. It's bullshit. That guy who just got killed, the CEO of this insurance company by this guy, Luigi Giglioni, it's kind of obvious. He went there and he assassinated him. It's really simple. If somebody really wants to kill you, they'll get close enough to you and they'll kill you. That's all.
No.
Would I be a murderer?
No.
Even though it's because of revenge, I would not be a murderer because that was part of your criteria.
Yeah, but I hate to tell you, that is not simply revenge. That is protecting the innocent from being slaughtered.
I understand that. I'm talking about my own internal motivation is primarily revenge for what he did to Jewish people, not necessarily like, you know, a moral escapade to save the world.
Right.
Would it be murder, even though I'm still killing the same person?
Yeah,
you
if you're filled with hatred toward a human being,
I could possibly go to hell for killing Hitler.
That's sinful, filled with hate for human being. Okay.
Depending on how I feel inside.
How is that sinful? That is an emotion. Hatred It's an emotion. You can't feel it, see it, or touch it. It doesn't exist. Here's the thing. He says morals, okay? Cliff says that morals, if you're using these morals, whatever, that morals are sinful. But now he's talking about emotions. So it doesn't say anywhere. I don't know. Now he says emotions are sinful, but they don't exist. How does he know you hate somebody? Oh, because you're frowning your eyes and you're acting a certain way. Yeah, but you don't know that for sure. You could be fabricating. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. You feel sick. I don't know. But like I said, anger, emotion of anger, you can't feel it, touch it, or taste it. You can't see it. Doesn't exist. Get it? Because it's an emotion. It doesn't exist. It isn't real. See what I mean? What is real is how you physically do things. That's real. See what I mean? But he's going to label that act as being hatred. He doesn't know it's hatred. Why do lions kill their cubs of other male lions when they go into a pride? They weren't made by them. Why do they kill them? Why do they get rid of them? Are they angry? Do they hate them? No, they not necessarily. I don't know. I know they're killing them. If you're asking me my opinion, I don't know. This is just my opinion. They're killing. They say on YouTube they're killing them because they were made by another lion and they don't want them there. They don't want to take care of them. They don't want them. You understand me? It's really simple. They're competition. So they don't want them. They want to make their own cubs with the lionesses and whatever, and then so forth and so on.
Motive. You're correct. When you read the Sermon on the Mount, what you begin to understand is God attaches a great deal of importance to motive. So it's not just me murdering somebody that's wrong. It's me hating somebody. See,
why is that wrong that you hate somebody? If you're hating them, that means it kind of goes with jealousy, really. You're hating them because you're jealous of them. Why would you hate somebody? Because you're jealous about something. Really, that's the reason. If you hate, it's because you're jealous.
I hate you. If I never murder you, but if I hate you, I am guilty of sin.
If I hate you, I'm guilty of sin. But you never acted on it. So how could you be guilty? How could it be a sin? But according to Cliff, breaking the laws of nature is not a sin, right? Cliff is breaking the laws of nature, eating an artificial diet, fake food and everything, and poisoning himself. And all these people here are all sinners then, because they're all breaking the laws of nature. And they don't even live in nature where they're supposed to be doing. And they're supposed to be having kids. And if they don't have kids, they also broke the laws of nature. And therefore, they have sinned against nature because they're not following through. There you go.
If I never date, but I do lust, I am demeaning a woman in my mind. That is sin.
But here's the thing. People will lust is a sin, but lust may be love. You don't know what love is. You just label lust as love and love as lust because you're lusting over something. You love it so much because you're lusting. And he's going to tell you that he's going to label it as lust. He's going to label love as a sin, and he's going to call it lust. See that? That's how they justify it. So love too is a sin.
According to Christ in the Sermon on the Mount. So you see, God created you and me to really love each other, to really respect each other.
God created us to respect each other, to love each other. No, your mom didn't create you to love each other and respect each other. In the wild, in nature, the strong survive and the weak die. It's really simple. In the animal kingdom, the strong survive and the weak die. That's it. When an elephant comes charging, all these other little fucking animals, they all fuck off really fast when he comes charging. Want to know why? Because he's stronger. He's bigger and stronger, and they're weaker, and they fuck off.
And not to play mind games with each other, manipulate each other, and use each other.
They do. People that are smarter are stronger in this world. Intelligence is stronger stupid people. And so they manipulate the crowds. That's the whole point. Is that a sin too, Cliff? So everything that society has been doing here, manipulating us, enslaving us, making us into gym lifting slaves and food slaves, diet slaves, and all this kind of shit, is that not a sin? Who's orchestrating it? The people that are on the top. They're orchestrating it. They're hoarding all the money. They're controlling, manipulating, doing all this shit, bro. Get it? Running this society on this cancer. You understand me? By getting everybody to break the laws of nature, to go to a slave school, slave store, get your slave wage, eat your slave food and all that, and get sick and go to your slave doctor and slave dentist and all this and whatever, and continue on.
Like the moral absolutism of the Ten Commandments that says thou shalt not murder is only in the sense, like, for the most part, it seems to me like the moral absolutism of the Ten Commandments seem to conflict if God is basing things on a question of motives. Right, so is it moral absolute?
Yeah.
Is it absolute? Because you say it depends on the circumstance, it depends on how I feel, and that seems to be contradictory to what you said earlier.
All right, it's real simple. In the Ten Commandments we read, you shall not murder. What is that? That is a guardrail that God is putting in place.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a man that tried to put that in place. And Moses doesn't exist. He said that this Moses dude wrote the commandments or something. He wrote them or something, whatever. He doesn't exist anywhere in Egypt. None of these plights that these so-called Jews, these plights and all these things that they did in Egypt exist. You'd think it'd be written down somewhere in history, but nothing exists. There's no evidence whatsoever that these Jews existed and any of these events that Moses and these Jews did with these Egyptians happened. The water running red, the frogs falling from the sky, first child being killed, and yada, yada, yada. None of and them leaving and parting a sea and running and whatever. None of these things exist there in Egypt. They wrote them in a book because it was fabricated. They fabricated it because they wanted to pretend they came from some place because they don't know where they came from. That's the problem. They've been roaming around. They were nomadic. They were a nomadic tribe of people. That's the thing. And so they were looking to settle, I guess. Eventually, they were looking to settle. So they settled in the land of Canaan. And these Canaanites, they're still there. They didn't kill them all. They didn't slaughter all of them. They're still there. They live there.
God is not content with me simply not murdering you. God has created me to love you and to respect you. Now,
no, your mom didn't do any of those things. That's not why she created you. You were created by her because it's natural. It's the laws of nature, creation, to create more DNA. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's it, basically.
if I
You're built that way, to create more DNA.
get so mixed up in my thinking that I consider murdering you, God is putting a stake in the ground saying, Cliff,
Murder is just an act. It's just an act. You consider it something bad because you don't like it happening to you. Of course not. It can happen both ways.
never murder Emil. But I can promise you, God has a far higher goal for me in my relationship with you than simply not murdering you. He wants me to respect you, to love you, to encourage you.
No, he doesn't. That's a lie. Of course, your parents today will try to, steer you from right and wrong according to, the way society is built now. It's the whole point is to condition you a certain way. They want to condition you a certain way. That's it, basically.
Did not murder me. Thank you for that. All right, so let me just kind of be clear here, right? So the moral absolute of the Ten Commandments is relative to motives.
No, it's not relative to motives.
I think that's what Jesus did. He took it to a whole nother level. It's not just motives, but it's what's in your heart. Why are you following the Ten Commandments? Why are you not lusting after someone? Why are you not hating someone? Because the Bible says, oh, you're not committing adultery because.
No, because society has conditioned you not to do those things. That's what they're trying to do. They control you from acting on your natural instincts. Get it? You understand me? To do these things, they're natural instincts, survival instincts.
You're trying not to do it. It's well, he's like, well, even if you think about it, even if you lust after someone that's committing adultery, even if you hate someone within your
it's
heart.
Not. According to you, it is. You, a zealot, and these religious people, to them it is. You understand me? Not to anybody else.
That's literally the same thing. But obviously, there's greater consequences to doing the action in this lifetime.
And what are the consequences? In nature, there'll be no consequences unless there's anybody out there to enforce it. Here's the thing. There's nobody enforcing the laws when it comes to these animals out in nature. They kill indiscriminately. They lust, they kill, they do a bunch of stuff. Is anybody enforcing it? Absolutely not. The only place it's being enforced is in the human animal kingdom, in these cities.
It is based on an understanding
Because you want order. You want order.
that the human heart is what needs to change. And the human heart, changed by Christ, is going to be a heart that loves and respects.
That's baloney, man. Heart. What does your heart have to do with anything? Have to do with emotions. They're chemical. They're chemicals happening in your brain, the way you're thinking. They're chemical reactions. You understand me? There's chemicals releasing. Hormones and chemicals are releasing in the moment when you're in the heat of the moment.
Now, if any of us get so confused that we consider adultery, murder, lying, watch out. That's a guardrail, and God says, no, don't go over that guardrail.
Okay, well, in that case, let's take a simpler instance.
No, he doesn't, because he doesn't exist. You are commanding that. You are.
Like the thou shalt not bear false witness.
Yes.
Seems pretty standard. Is it bear false witness based on motives, or always never bear false witness?
Well, that's where followers of Christ disagree. Some followers of Christ
Don't bear false witness. People are every day they're doing that. Every day they're doing that. They're still doing these things. They're still killing, murdering. Not everybody's doing it, but a good majority people act on those instincts and they do it. And then they want to make a big story on the news. Why are they doing that? We need to investigate. What motivated them? What made them do it? They say that. You want to know why they say that? Because they don't want you to know that he acted instinctually. Get it? It was an animal instinct to go and kill that CEO guy. That guy, Luigi, whatever his name is. He acted instinctually. That's why. They think there's like all this stuff behind it. You know what I mean? It was instinctual. Get it? Yeah.
would say, I am not responsible to tell you the truth. If by giving you the truth, you're going to be able then to go out and murder people.
Well,
See, there you go. He admitted it. That's exactly what I said. If I tell you the truth, you'll go out and murder people. See what I mean?
say murder.
So that's where...
that's an easy standard to lie by, right? Just don't lie because of murder. Are there any other standards that in situations where I can lie that's not about like stopping someone from murdering anyone?
Okay.
I'd like to know...
I do not know. Why? Because I'm not the judge.
You want to know why he doesn't know? Because he's a human. He doesn't know anything. He fabricates everything that he thinks he knows.
God is. And God is all-knowing, and I'm not all-knowing.
You seem to know why in regards...
God is all-knowing, and he's not knowing. There's no God. He hasn't proven any God. Your mom is God, and she doesn't know anything. She raised you instinctually, and how society keeps adding to these things. That's how she raised you.
...to murder, is it...
You were brought up, you are a product of your environment. If you're brought up in a very bad area, you are a product of that area. If you're brought up poor, you're a product of that area. The Voss twins, the ones that went against Facebook, those rich twins, they are a product of their environment. They were rich, and they're still rich to this day. They sued the Facebook guy They got, I don't know, $100 million out of stock from the company. And then they bought Bitcoin and they made more millions, billions. And they're running a company called Gemini. So money makes money. And they call it old money. Old money. Money makes money. And poor people, they just stay poor forever. I'm not saying they can't break out or branch out. Some of these poor people, eventually, there's more opportunities, of course, now than there ever was before. There's more opportunities for people who are poor to get break out of it. But they're never really that rich. I haven't seen anybody get that rich. Well, it depends. I don't know. Depends if they got a very good idea. You know what I mean? They'll be rewarded by society. Yeah, depends. I don't know.
Not outlined? Did Jesus
Correct.
really
It's
get
not
all
outlined.
into depth about the whole lying thing?
Right. That's exactly right. We are not to lie. We're to speak the truth. But, and although I will stick to that.
We are not to lie. We're to speak the truth. But people lie every single day. They even lie to themselves. Come on, Cliff. They lie to themselves. They say, well, it's okay if I don't brush my teeth today. You know, I'll be okay. But they know they're lying to themselves. That they don't brush their teeth will disintegrate. They'll get rotten because they can't stop eating the slave food diet that's rotting their teeth. Or they'll be like, well, I won't eat that food that's rotting my teeth. I'll just do it just this one time. But they continue in that behavior. You see what I mean? They lie to themselves. Oh, I'll just eat this donut just this one time. I know I'm really fat. I don't want to get fatter. But they lie to themselves. They convince themselves. They lie to themselves. They lie to other people. Human beings lie every day, bro. They don't even know who they are. They were born with an identity. Somebody gave you an identity. It's not yours. You don't even know who you are.
In a very strong way, I understand why certain followers of Christ who are sincere and really seek to honor Christ say, wait a second, Cliff, if this criminal is asking for information, and if you give them that information, you know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to rape and murder people. They do not deserve to get the truth from you. I understand their point.
Okay, so I mean, for the most part, like, I guess the other commandments, or particularly lying, Jesus doesn't like talk.
Why do you think these people today, they want to go, I identify myself as what? Transgender or gay. They label themselves now. They identify themselves. Want to know why they have to say that? Because your identity had been already predestined for you when you were born. But these people, they have to emphasize they identify as so and so. You understand me? Because they weren't able to choose their identity when they first came out. So now they have to emphasize, I identify myself as so and so. See what I mean? All these people identify themselves as the followers of this blind faith. Get it, dude?
About it all that much.
Correct.
Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, you know,
Wait a second. Here's why I think it's not unfortunate. You see, the point of Christianity is not, here are the rules, Emil, follow them. The point of Christianity is, I am God who loves you. I've become a man in Jesus. That's how personal I am. I want to personally connect with you, to live in a spiritual relationship with you. So Christianity is not
What? You see what I mean? This is exactly what I'm telling you.
just getting all the rules right. Christianity is knowing God, knowing Christ. That's why faith is so important.
It's rules and regulations. It's fake. It's to control you, to enslave you to something that doesn't exist in nature. It only exists in man's fabricated, fake, artificial world, eating an artificial diet.
Yeah.
Faith is not, hey, God, I think you exist. That's not what God is concerned about. God is concerned about, God, I want to live in relationship with you.
Do you see how crazy this guy sounds? God, I want to be in a relationship with you. You have a relationship with God. Your mom is God. That's why I don't know. Most children have a very close relationship to their mother. Want to know why? Because she's God. She gave you birth. They love their mother. When people are, something's happening to them, you can hear them scream, I want my mama. They never say dad. I want my mom. Want to know why? Because she's God. She gave you birth. So when something's bad happening to these people, they're always crying out to their mom. Look in these movies. Watch these movies. They always put in these movies. And you can hear this girl or this kid, this guy, I want my mom. They'll cry out, I want my mom. They're being killed or something, or raped, or whatever's happening to them. They're calling out to their mom. The only time I've ever seen people call out God was in a movie. And I don't even know if when people are dying in an airplane is crashing, and all of a sudden they're praying to God. Why are they praying to God when the airplane is crashing? They're not asking for their mom anymore when something bad is happening to them. They're asking for God. You want to know why? Because they think he's got superpowers and he's magically going to make this plane fly and land. Get it? Because he's got the magic wand. He's going to wave it and boom. People go in a car and they don't say mom or anything. They put like some religious thing on their car or whatever, and they put a cross there or whatever, because they think that God is going to protect them from being killed in this car. But this car is unnatural. It doesn't exist in nature. So you know that what you're doing there, you can die, you can get killed performing in this car, because it's moving at astronomically high speeds. And it can crash and you can die. So God has nothing to do with any of these things. He doesn't have anything to do with airplanes or cars, because he never created them. You did. You created them. No God. Nature didn't create airplanes and cars, okay? And this God guy didn't either. Humans did. And if you die in it, it's because it's faulty, okay? It's faulty.
And that's what heaven will be, an eternal love relationship with the living God.
Wow, he sounds really crazy. You see, that's what heaven is. It's a loving relationship with God. You can't have a loving relationship with something that doesn't exist. It's ridiculous, because you're not going to exist. When you die, you're not going to exist anymore. You're going to disappear. Yes. So you can't have a relationship with something that is not going to be there.
I probably won't find out, but in any circumstance, I do have other things to do. It's actually really interesting.
Good to meet you, Neil. Thanks for raising all the issues you did.
Yeah.
Woo! Wow. I'm going to show you guys in the Bible where it says that it's okay to lie. It doesn't say that exactly, but I'm going to show you.
So the Bible says it's okay to lie. Oh, okay, kid.
And you guys will be blown away. In Hebrews 11, verse 31, it says, "It was by faith that Rahab, the prostitute, was not destroyed with the people in her city who refused."
See, the Bible considers every woman a prostitute, which is crazy. They put women down. They never talk about women in the Bible. See what I mean? They don't want to. They don't want to talk about women, and they refer to them as prostitute or the Holy Spirit. They refer to a woman as a Holy Spirit or a prostitute, which is crazy, to conceal the existence of woman, which is really strange.
To obey God, for she had given a friendly welcome to the spies. So the story goes, in the Old Testament, Caleb and Joshua were hiding from the people in Jericho, and they were hiding from the soldiers, and they hid in Rahab's house, and the soldiers came to look for these spies. She lied and said they weren't at her house. And
Yeah, that's your survival instincts kick in. See what I mean? That's why I try to tell you, humans are prone to lying. They will always lie. They even lie to themselves.
now it says in Hebrews, by faith, she has helped some people. It was by faith that Rahab, the prostitute, was not destroyed with the people in her city who refused to obey God, for she had given a friendly welcome to the people. Wow. Isn't that crazy? So obviously, you shouldn't lie to get things that you want. You shouldn't.
You shouldn't what, kid? You're not supposed to lie at all. Isn't that a sin to lie? You see what I mean?
Deceive. You shouldn't bear false witness. Obviously, lie about.
They did. They're doing those things. They're false witness. They're lying. They're lying, kid.
Other people for whatever reason, for whatever your own gain is. That's being dishonest and not okay, which is a sin. But everything's.
Oh, really? It is it? And people are doing that every day, kid. Where have you been? People lie more now today than they ever have. They're so driven, money driven, because nobody wants to work anymore. They want to live off the backs of these other slaves. That's the whole point. See what I mean? They woke up. Nobody wants to work.
A lot of it is motive. Like the Sermon on the Mount is just like bringing everything Jesus taught is just like what's in your heart. What's the reason why you want to do ministry? Is it just for money, or is it just
What's in your heart? Why do you want to do it? Is it just for money? There you go. He even admitted it. Why do you want to do ministry? Is it just for money? Well, money's involved in ministry? I thought it was free. Oh, there's money involved. Well, there you go. Money in this man-made environment is all money. These books, the ministry and everything is based on money. It's a business, kid. Religion is a business just like any other business.
to make people think that you look good? So in the description below, you can click the link to help you decide to follow Jesus for the first time. I encourage you to
Yes, it's to make you look good. And no, I'm not going to click the thing down at the bottom, the link.
do that. If you've never accepted Jesus into your heart, this will be the best decision you could ever do.
Yep, it sure is. It's going to be the best for him. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Don't you think about that? Like, subscribe, support the channel. I told you, all the things that these people are doing are fake. They're just actors. They're just acting. It's fake. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.